Who are we? That's the question. What is our real identity? We usually think of ourselves as people with a soul inside of us. But really, the truth is that we're not just people. We all know that. Essentially, we're souls. Right? That's really what we are. We're spiritual. But how many of us really think of ourselves that way? We think of ourselves as a body. This is who I am. You look in the mirror. That's who you are. Your name, your profession. Not so. And it causes us many difficulties because we get all these thoughts about who we are, and we believe those thoughts, and they're really not even true. We have thoughts that we're not good, we're not as good as we really are. We don't know how good we are. None of us know how pure and really good we are, deep down. And it's a shame. It's a shame. How do we make that shift from thinking that we're something that we're not, to really knowing who we are and being that person? How do you get in touch with the real goodness that's inside of oneself and to really feel that sense of your eternity, that you're forever, and that you're made of light, that you're made up of light and love? How do you get in touch with that? And how do you live in that mode? That's really what I want to talk to you about today. It's a big subject. Let's start like this. The body itself has feelings, where we have sensations from the body, we have thoughts that come from the body. It says that there are certain feelings, emotions, and sensations that come from the body. And there are certain thoughts and feelings and emotions that come from the soul. And the feelings and thoughts and emotions that come from the soul are very different than the feelings, thoughts, and emotions that come from the body. Problem is we're mixing them up. We don't even know what our hearing is. It's like our ears are all plugged up. Our hearts are a little plugged up. And so we can't really even hear what our soul is saying, what it's feeling, what it wants. Right? And we're hearing the thoughts and the feelings, and we're getting the urges and cravings that all come from the body. And we think that that's who we are. And it's not. It's not. Even when people do things that are not good, when they do things that are harmful to themselves or harmful to other people, God forbid, we have to realize that that's not the essence of what that person is all about. Person needs treatment. Sometimes people need incarceration even. But we have to understand what the essence of a person really is. It's not what we think. And we are not what we think we are. We're not anything close to what we think we are. The real you is completely whole. The real you is shalom, it's complete. The real you is Atzelem Elokim. You are made in the image of your Creator. You are made in the image of your Creator. You are a neshama tahara. You are a pure soul. It says that God blew the spirit of life, the neshama, into a person. That's how the life comes into a person. And the life's force that's in a person is the soul. And the body cannot do anything without that soul. Nothing. Can't move its hand, can't see, can't hear. None of the thousands of physiological functions of the body that are taking place now could happen without the soul being in the body. Okay. What do we do What's the way that we make the transition? We have to understand that when we're getting thoughts, that they're just thoughts. Thoughts are just thoughts. One of the things that minds do is they tend to wander. They like to go all over the place, back into the past, into the unknown future. They like to ruminate over and over in a circular way about people in your life, about situations, circumstances, yourself, others. The mind likes to go around and around in thinking. And, of course, a lot of this thinking is making us feel bad. So we have a general rule that we use, and that is that if thinking makes us feel bad, we have a word. We call that thinking dysfunctional. It's dysfunctional thinking. How much of the thinking of the average person today would we say is dysfunctional? A lot. Most of it. If a person is in not the happiest mood that he could be in, okay. How do we relate to these thoughts? Well, the way most people relate to the thoughts is that they're not really that aware of the thoughts. And by not being aware of the thoughts automatically create emotional reactivity in the person. Sadness, depression, fear, jealousy. So, the answer isn't to continue on this automatic pilot way of living. The answer is to break the pattern of that automatic pilot. And to break the pattern, we have to first see how that automatic pilot is working in us. Most of us are going so fast, and we're so mindless in the way we're going about things, that we don't even know how many thoughts we're having and how bad those thoughts are making us feel. And we're not even aware of those thoughts and those feelings, and we wonder, where does this bad mood come from? Why all of a sudden are you angry? Why all of a sudden do you feel like not doing anything? You just want to go to sleep. We've all had these experiences. It seems to come out of the blue. But it's not coming out of the blue. We are creating these moods with our thoughts and the judgments that we make about things. You see, because it's not only that we're thinking things about ourselves and thinking things about others that are not so pleasant, that are not always so nice. We're making judgments about ourselves, negative judgments about ourselves and about other people and about life. And, okay, it happens. We have to have a way of accepting that for now, that that's going to happen for a while. That barring a miracle, we can pray that Hashem should uproot from our minds all negative thinking. And Im Yirtzeh Hashem, God willing, He'll do it. Maybe He'll do it to you because you deserve it. You deserve a free gift. But until that happens, we have to work. Nevertheless, it means that if God's not just taking away all the negative thoughts and feelings that people have, it means that God, He doesn't want us to just continue on like bulls in a china shop. It must mean that He wants us to work on ourselves and try to have a different relationship with these thoughts. In other words, if they come, we have two choices basically. We can either fight against them. We can get angry because we don't like the way things are going. We don't like the way we feel. We can be impatient with ourselves. We can feel embarrassed that we think and feel certain things, or say or act in certain ways. or we can be more accepting. We can be more accepting because we know that these thoughts and feelings that are all negative, they're not coming from the soul. They're not coming from the real you. They're being generated by this body that you're living in. Right? The body that you're living in is not who you are. Just like the clothing that you're wearing is not you. If you're wearing a nice suit or a nice dress, that's the covering you. It's not who you are. It's the same with the body and the soul. So when we can accept that all negativity is not coming from you, it's coming from the body, it's coming from the physical part of you, not the spiritual part of you, it changes it immediately. This takes emunah, this takes trust. First of all, to believe that you are an eternal being, that you are a soul, and your soul is emunah. The emunah and the soul are the same thing. That's what your soul is. Your soul is your emunah. It's your faith in God. It's your faith in the Creator. And it's perfect. It's emunah shalema. Your soul has perfect faith in the Creator. If you realize that negative feelings, negative moods, anxiety attacks, episodes of depression, they're not coming from you, they're coming from a body, then it changes everything. We know from studies in cognitive, that compare cognitive therapy to other therapies, for example, mindfulness therapies, the therapy that we use more of in emunah coaching, where we teach people to be more mindful of themselves, to be more aware of themselves, to be more, which leads to being able to be more aware of God, of the Creator. We see that mindfulness works better than cognitive therapy alone. Cognitive therapy certainly has a degree of efficacy. It works. But why doesn't it work as well as being mindful and allowing thoughts and accepting thoughts, but decentering from them and just observing them and not letting them come into us and become reactive? The reason why mindfulness, which is the ability to observe yourself objectively and not get emotional about things in yourself that normally would have upset you about yourself, as compared to cognitive therapy, which teaches you to challenge the thoughts, is that that's a very big difference. Challenging thoughts, saying, hey, is this thought really true? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I believe that this is a true thought? If I think I'm no good, I'm a failure. How much do I believe that on a scale of 1 to 10? Do I believe it 100%, 90%, 80%? How much do I really believe that I'm a failure? I only believe it 40%? Okay, so let's see if we could work so that I could believe it 50%, and then 60%, right? This works to some extent, but it does not, research shows that it does not work as well as taking that thought that I'm a failure and saying, okay, I welcome you. You know? I can just hear Rabbi Irish saying, okay, thank you. Thank you, Hashem, for giving me such a thought. I'm a failure. Or I get, thank you, Hashem, for giving me that mood. I'm depressed. Okay, I'm depressed. I can still be depressed and happy at the same time. I can still be depressed, and if I'm anchored in my real self, who I really am, who you really are, which is that you're all good, you're perfect, you're whole, then you can be happy and you can still see all of the healthy choices that you have in front of you. Let's say somebody says something that gets you angry. And your first impulse is to want to lash back out at that person. Right? Or let's say you get a craving to do something that would be harmful to yourself or to another person. But you really know who you are. You're grounded in your emunah. You're grounded in your soul. Then what's going to happen is you're going to be able to say, okay, there is this feeling of anger going through my body. There is this craving going through my body. But that's not me. And even though I'm having this unpleasant thought or experience at the moment, I still have me, and I can still decide to do whatever I want. And if I don't fight against it, it's not going to come back harder and try to undo me. I can live with it. I can coexist with it. In a sense, I'm not praying for such things, but if it comes automatically, as thoughts do, we say, okay, you're welcome. You're welcome to stay if you want. But really, as far as you're concerned, you know that it really doesn't exist because it's not true. And anything that isn't true doesn't exist. The Gemara says that Sheker has no reglayim, has no legs. Falsehood has no legs. That means something that isn't true can't stand for long. It's bound to topple over. What can stand forever? You can stand forever. Why? Because you're truth. You're the real thing. You're the real deal. Only truth, only something that is completely true, not even 99% true, but 100% true, will last eternally. And that's you. So what are people afraid of? What makes people so sad? Why do people walk around with long face or complain about their situations? Because they feel that they need more of something and they're not getting it. Or they feel that they've lost something, they're not going to get it back, and they just must have that thing. Sometimes people feel they lost things that they didn't even have yet, because they were just fantasizing about getting something, the new car, the new house, and they didn't get it, and they feel they lost it because in fantasy they were there already. They thought it was theirs. So people think when they lose something, when they're going to be limited in some way, the body thinks it gets sad. It gets sad. What's the biggest thing that a person can lose? His life. So the body tells you, hey, you're going to die someday. How could you be happy? How could you live life? Why even live? Why follow rules? Why learn about all this Torah stuff? Someday you're going to die. You know? So people are sad. That's the biggest thing that people think, the biggest mistake that we make is that we really believe the messages from the body that tell us that we're going to die. Nobody's going to die. Nobody's going to die. Only this body is going to die someday. So what? This body was never alive to begin with. It was just a clump of earth. Before the soul came into it, it was just a clump of earth. The soul came into it and it brought life into it. When the soul leaves, it will become a clump of earth again. And that's not who we are, a clump of earth. No, that's not who we are. Okay. So we need to have a different relationship with the negativity, the negative thoughts, the body. A way of distancing ourselves from it, of not getting panicked over thoughts. and a way of anchoring ourselves. And the way we do the anchoring is we teach people how, with many structured exercises and many ways that you can practice in your daily life, to start to see that there's a world outside of the world that we can see. That there's many other worlds, spiritual worlds, that you can start to get your mind thinking more in the way of looking beyond and seeing more than you can see just with your eyes. To some extent, you need your imagination to do this, but God blessed you with a good imagination. So you follow along and you can use your imagination to be able to see past what you normally see, and hear past what you normally hear, and even feel past what you normally feel. And when you start feeling, in particular, who you really are, and the joy that is really yours, that is your birthright, you start feeling all of the joy that you have in you, and all of the love that you have in you, and all of the generosity and kindness and wisdom that you have in you. And you start to see how substantial you are, how much there is to you, how much more you are than your job description, or the secular concepts and ideas that box us into thinking small about who we are. It's such an inspiration. And you'll start to feel happy. You start to feel happy for no reason other than you exist. That's what Sameach B'Chelko is. Being happy with your lot, as we say. This is simply being happy with the fact that you're alive. It's a great, great joy and a pleasure just to know that you're an eternal being, that you're alive. Life means permanent life. Life, by definition, is forever. You're just like Hashem. You're going to go forever. You're a part of Him. He's a part of you. So there's no limit to what you can accomplish. There's no limit to what you can do in this life and in the next world for sure. You're unlimited. You have no boundaries. You have no limits. There's no clock ticking. You're not bound by time either. You have all the time in the world. So we should start with that, to relax and breathe and live our lives with more enjoyment in the moment. Because this moment right now is what counts. This is where our lives are, right here, right now. What we can do for each other right now. No past, no future. It takes up too much mental energy and drains us to be getting back into that rumination. No. Living now. Living now. And you look around. You see what you can do for people, and you can see what you're meant to do in your quiet moments, in your moments of meditation, in your moments of speaking in your personal way to your Creator. You inquire from the deepest part of you, Creator, what do you need from me? Creator, what is my purpose? What's my next step in this situation, whatever that might be for you? And then you wait. You wait. And you listen now with those unclogged ears. And you really listen. And you start to pick up from your own inner voice, which is the voice of your Amunah, the voice of your soul, that will speak to you and tell you something good. Something that's real. Something that you really should pursue. that you're meant to pursue, that you're meant to do. The inner voice, your emunah, the inner voice of your emunah will help you to make the right decisions in life. When you reach a crossroad and you know you got to choose right or left, you'll choose the right way with wisdom, because the wisdom is coming from your emunah. It's coming from you, from your faith, from your soul, which is connected to the ultimate chachmas haTorah and the chachma of the Creator Himself. The wisdom of the Torah, the wisdom of the Creator. You're not just a simple creature walking the earth like the other creatures of the world. You're not just another species. You're an Adam. There's a difference between an Adam and a Behemoth. An Adam, which is the Torah's way of saying a person, he has a seichel, you have an intellect. You have insight. You have the power of Bechira, you have the power to choose. An animal does not have the power to choose. It goes strictly on instincts. It follows its instincts. People really do not fully grasp the power that they have to choose. Because they're so inundated, oftentimes we feel so overwhelmed by the body putting pressures on us, and thoughts and time pressures and financial pressures and all these things. They take us away from the true, take us away from ourselves. They take us away from joy, take us away from love. Yeah. But the Creator is not going to tell us something that isn't true. He's not going to write something in our Holy Torah that isn't true. If the Creator says that you have the power to choose, and that you can slow down and take time to really inquire of your soul, inquire of your emunah, inquire of your Creator, what's good for you, what's not good for you, what's going to be harmful, what's going to be more healthy, then you can do it. Even when you're being inundated. Even when you don't think you can do it. It just requires some training in retraining the way the brain works. You know, it just requires sometimes five coaching sessions. For some people it might be more, some people it might be less. To learn the tools that will retrain your brain. You're learning not only when you speak with us, for the 50 minutes or hour that we might be speaking each time, but you're going to have home practice, and that will be the bulk of your learning. That you'll each week be given different exercises to do, different recordings to listen to, different things to read sometimes. And you're going to keep track of what you're doing. You're going to keep notes on it. We have forms that you'll fill out, and we'll go over them the next time we meet, answer your questions, and then present new material to you. And each week will build on the week before. And after 5 weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks, you're going to have a lot of tools in your tool chest. And you're going to also have already made substantial changes in your brain functioning. In the way your brain processes life, processes thinking, thoughts. And in this way, you can be liberated from unhappiness, liberated from anxiety, even while you're still having some of it, and without necessarily having to find out why you had that anxiety in the first place, or why you had an episode of depression in the first place. a person can learn to undo undo is really not the right word, but to detach in a healthy way from memories, traumatic memories that still haunt the person and that cause reactivity in the person. Now when they're more detached, more decentered from those traumatic thoughts and memories, they can still spin around if they want, but they're not going to penetrate into you, number one. And they're going to also spin around your mind with less intensity as time goes on, and less duration as time goes on, which means that you're going to have less and less of these traumatic memories, less and less of them, and when they do come, they'll be less intense, milder and milder, until eventually they can fade away completely. They can fade away completely. Because there isn't enough room left in the mind for them to be there. As your mind becomes more involved in happiness, joy, serving your Creator, helping your fellow man and woman, doing good deeds, enjoying good food of Shabbos, singing, telling stories, learning the Parsha, speaking to people about your learnings, sharing ideas with friends, family. There's not going to be any room left in your brain for those old ruminations. And they fade out. They go away. And it's replaced by a newfound happiness, a newfound joy that is real and that will continue and last way beyond the 120 years of life that you have here in this world. You'll take it with you. Take it with you into the next world. Okay. So, we have to know who we are. We spoke about getting out of the identity confusion, being clear that you are your emunah. That's who you are. Read the Lost Princess, the story of the Lost Princess. It's all about this. Rabbi Nachman's tale about the Lost Princess. You can get it in English here in our bookstore, order it online. Let me give you a phone number, a toll-free phone number that you can call from anywhere. If you want to set up a consultation with myself or with Rebbetzin Hanan, who is our female Emunah coach here at Yeshiva Chutz Chesed. And that is 718-577-2975, 718-577-2975. You can call this number anytime between 2 in the afternoon and 11 o'clock at night, Israel time. Check your time zone as compared to ours. And you call the number 718-577-2975. Speak with Aaron. Push 1 for English. Speak with Aaron Dubinsky. Ask him about our Emunah coaching programs. Ask him about, if you're interested, the Emunah Coach, professional Emunah Coach training program. If you're a therapist or a counselor or somebody who wants to get into this field and you want to enroll in our classes to become a certified Emunah coach. We have 4 levels: Master Emunah Coach, Trainer, Consultant, Emunah Consultants, and so on and so forth. Give us a call, consult with us. Be happy to speak to you. In this merit, the merit of talking about Emunah and striving to become better people, getting away from the body, becoming who we really are, who we're meant to be. We should all be zeicha to be alive physically and spiritually and see with our own eyes the coming of the true Messiah. May he speedily come in our day. Amen.